we noticed the difference.
Yeah.
Of just like someone that really wants it, someone who has the experience, who has the drive internally, versus someone that we always have to just hold their hand all the way up. So it's a big difference. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing how we're planning to get from $3 million in run rate revenue to 10 million. I know 10 million sounds like a big number.
Yeah.
Which even right now, I think 3 million sounds like a big number.
Yep.
And I know like we're on track to be doing that by the end of this year.
Yeah.
By the end of 2024. Yeah. Which I know, I guess for context, so everyone knows, pretty much we've been in business ever since we got out of high school.
Yeah.
Or not business necessarily, but I know we've been trying to make money in the non-traditional way of going to a job.
Yeah.
Which is, I know you started with selling stuff. Just like
random stuff on eBay.
Yeah. And I know we were progressing the same way. I got into sales. You got into sales for an attorney.
Yeah.
In an attorney firm.
Selling services.
Selling services.
Overpriced services.
Overpriced.
But I digress.
Yeah. And it was like those things were building up our skills. I know, again, like I mentioned, I got into sales for selling vacuums door to door. So even just like having the courage to knock on doors, getting the door slammed in your face. Yeah. Selling $2,000 vacuums that someone, that day woke up and they didn't expect to buy a $2,000 vacuum, but it happened.
I remember we did. And the thing is that it's a good sales presentation because, I mean, us being lower income back, like when we were young, my parents too, we bought a $2,000 or they bought a $2,000 vacuum. But, it was a good vacuum. That's the thing. That's the thing. But I digress.
Yeah. And then, so again, it's building up our skills to like just being able to see what, how certain things work, the psychology of certain things. Eventually, I know we went back to like, I think traditional jobs, which is like the Home Depot and whatnot. And then I went back to the Superior. I was in the Superior. Oh, we also got into selling insurance.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like the big
mindset shift happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just like things here and there. And then eventually we started our first business in like, I think 2016.
Yeah.
Like October 2016, around there. At the time I was 19, you were 21.
Were you 19, 2016?
Yeah, because I graduated 2014. I was 18.
19.
2015.
Yeah, okay. That was 21, 22 then.
Yeah, so I was 19, barely 20.
Okay, so then I was 21, 22.
Yeah.
The clothing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because then I remember we rented our warehouse and the guy who we rented to was saying that, we're young and that he doesn't see a lot of young people, take on 1 year leases.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so pretty much, I don't know if you could talk about like just recapping what we learned from the business of formal apparel, like how we started, what we needed to learn, and pretty much some of the skills that we learned for that.
Yeah, so one of the things that because of our lack of experience and because of our lack of connections, and that's even to this day, we really don't have any strong connections to anyone that's like super successful. And I know that's a fault on our end that we have to associate ourselves with people like that. But in the first business, I know like that we got into it because, I think on YouTube, and it was the easiest thing that, to get into, let's say. It was a business that we didn't really have to interact with people with, which really fit into our personality of, leaning towards introvertness. And so it was, perfect for us. And so in formal apparel, I know like because of my job experience at the Play Stores, it was called, pretty much we saw the business model. We saw that, on their scale it was working. So we decided to try it out. Yep. We did. And at the beginning it was working because I think we were very... I don't want to say frugal, but we were very just, limited on resources. So when we had to make a purchase, we had to make it a right purchase. Mm-hmm. And so I know that, as it started growing, I think we took out loans to get more. So we tried to scale fast. Yep. And I think that was the one thing that kind of messed us up because we didn't know how to scale fast. And so, we started purchasing seeing the wrong inventory. And ultimately, that's what really messed us up because I know we purchased inventory that didn't sell. Because just assume that all that inventory sold, it would have been good. It would have been continuing to grow. And so we really messed up on, on trying to scale fast. And so that's one of the reasons why I think in this business, we are also relatively, not necessarily conservative, but we make smart decisions. We make smart decisions. So we're not gonna like, put all the money of the company at risk, by hiring all these other people and then maybe purchasing a whole bunch of inventory, which we have purchased a bunch of inventory that came out defective.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, in the tens of thousands of losses. And so I think in the first business, we learned, to make smarter decisions. We learned from our mistakes. And I think that's what really helped us in what do you call it? In this current business that we're in. So I think it really helped us learn then to not overstretch ourselves, not be like conservative, but not to overstretch ourselves. And at the same time, it helped us learn the marketplaces, the Amazon, the eBays, and we even had a website, which we did get sales. I remember our first sale that we got, I think, was a Polo Ralph Lauren dress, and I was surprised. I'm like, why would they buy this from this unknown website? Yeah. But they bought it. I'm like, I was expecting a chargeback.
Yeah,
but no, it was good. So I'm like, okay, I think it works. And so we learned, eBay, Amazon, our website. I know we got into Poshmark, and I know when our business was struggling, there's a whole bunch of other marketplaces that exist. And so knowing that, we know that online sales were pretty much, there's room for everyone.
100%.
There's room for everyone. If you offer the right service or right product to someone, there's room. Especially now that the sales patterns of people, or pretty much people are leaning towards online purchases. It's just really open for everyone. And the thing is that I know when, like, let's say back in the day, you really had to have some money or something to be open let's say a location, sign a lease. But now you could do it from your garage, from your home, from your living room, from your bedroom, which we started off like that. And so like really now anyone can. But there was a lot of things that we learned, and then I know that translated into this business.
Yeah, and I say that because I know in our first business was e-commerce. It was e-commerce selling clothing, liquidated clothing from like these big brand names. It was still e-commerce, and I know I say that because this current business that we have, it's e-commerce, but now it's in the automotive industry, selling automotive films. And yeah, I bring it up because I know, like I mentioned, we pretty much started business at the beginning of the year. Not at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of like just our adulthood. Once we were like 18, 19, 20, that's when we started. I know for 2016, I remember the revenue for formal apparel. Revenue is pretty much like all the sales you get, and what we're counting is pretty much all the sales minus discounts and returns. So that's what at least in this podcast, that's what we're referring to revenue. And that's before expenses like the rent, pay, buying inventory. That's before everything. Which 2016, our first year, without knowing what we were doing, I know we made like 33,000 around there.
That's 30,000 total sales, huh?
Total sales. And that's like without us knowing anything about business. It's just we were following a proven business model. And that's the thing. Like if you follow a proven business model, but you're consistent, you're gonna be able to make money. How you said that. Even though there's a lot of like company. Well, I don't know if you said this, but there's a lot of companies out there that are online, that they're e-commerce, but if you go in, there's still room to make money. So that was our first year. Our second year, 2017, it went all the way to 170,000. And then 2018, I know it dropped down to barely 100,000. And that's pretty much like 2018, like 2019 is when it was just like, all right, we're not gonna do this anymore. And pretty much from that, I know we had certain expectations because we were in debt. We were, with the business, our personal stuff, getting personal loans to fund the first initial business. We went into like, we did the math, and it was roughly $80,000 in debt. And I know we had pretty much the mindset of like, all right, maybe we're not going to start any businesses anytime soon. And we thought that, okay, we're going to work. We're probably going to spend like 3, 4, 5 years working, and then we're gonna start a business.
Just paying off the debt. Like getting back to zero.
And I don't know how it happened that we just decided, all right, let's buy another liquidation pallet. We know it makes money. Like we could leverage it to make money to fund another business, or like until we find something else. And that's how I don't know if you remember.
What was it? Our excess inventory that we have of toys.
We had that, but So we had that, and I know we were selling it here and there to just try to get rid of it and trying to make a little bit extra money.
Yeah.
Which I know we got into that little small warehouse by Manchester and Western.
Oh, it was extremely small. Was it like a 4x5? No,
Yeah.
it was less.
Less.
Or a 4x5.
Yeah, it's kind
It
of
was
like a small storage room,
Yeah,
like
it's
a closet.
if you combine these two tables together, that's pretty much the size of
Yeah.
it.
And we were operating like trying to get rid of and make extra money.
Yeah.
But I know eventually we moved into a bigger warehouse because for whatever reason we're like, all right, we're just gonna, even though we originally had planned to just go back to work, we're like, okay, let's just, for whatever reason we decided to start again.
I think because we did get other liquidation because I think we were making the reasons why we still purchased, because I still remember when we purchased those scanners, like the 10 unit scanners that were like expensive. I think we still were like in business, but just being smarter. We weren't trying to go fast.
Yeah.
I remember like whenever we did make a purchase, I think it was knowing that, okay, this is going to sell.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think the reason why we moved was because we had our jobs. We were paying pretty much the sales that we had from our business was covering some of the debt. And then our jobs were also providing pretty much covering the debt. And then I think we had some discretionary incomes. I think that's one of the reasons why we chose to move to like the small, which was bigger than what we were currently leasing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then I think, I don't know if it was then or afterwards that we started.
We like around 2018, 2019, the beginning. I think it was like the beginning of the year because like January, February, March, I think it was around maybe February or March that we moved to the Gardena warehouse. That small. It was like the size of this. It was probably like 200 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we started purchasing more pallets and whatnot.
Oh yeah, we still purchased more pallets.
And then eventually, I know it was I think around February or March you came to me with the idea of this business, but I'm like, I still want to do like other things like selling soccer stuff, selling maybe like tape, socks, and then
which we did too. We were experimenting a lot with different products in that time.
Yeah, and then eventually I remember because it was April. I think it was like the third, fourth, fifth time you told me. Remember?
Because I remember I remember it was at a birthday party.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? I was like, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And you were breaking it down. That's the thing. It's like, that's maybe the other thing about persistence, or maybe something that you need is
because at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like if you weren't there, like I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I remember I showed you a house in River, or I was looking at houses in River, like kind of like to motivate. I think it was myself. I don't think I showed you, huh?
No.
So I think it was just to motivate myself.
Yeah, but even then, that's one of the things that you broke it down. You're like, okay, this is what the material is. This is pretty much what we need to do. We have
I
the
don't
experience.
remember that, yeah.
So you broke it down. You're like, all right, it's just like, this is our cost to like the potential that we can make. And I'm like, and then I'm there thinking, I'm like, oh, that's a no-brainer. Like,
okay. I remember the time that we spoke. It was pretty much at a birthday.
At our cousin's birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's specific.
Oh.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter.
No.
But I remember it was in April because I remember.
Yeah, it was in April. And you pretty much broke it down, and then that's where like, all right, I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, like that really makes sense. I'm like, maybe this is something we really can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we pretty much dropped everything else, and that's pretty much how this business started. Yeah. I know the idea started in April. We started purchasing things on around May. Started like seeing what we were gonna do, how we were gonna go about it. May, and I know June we got our first sale.
Yeah.
Of 2019.
Yeah, and so we pretty much had two businesses operating at the same time. I know we still had our liquid, which the thing is that it was bringing around $6,000 to $8,000 a month of clothing side.
Yeah.
And then little by little, like the other business started, or our current business started growing, and we just, I think at some point it was equal, but then it started surpassing it, and then we started really to focus on our core business, because for a long time we had both businesses like running. Yeah,
even though we moved to our 6,000 square foot warehouse, we were still selling clothing.
Yeah, well, whatever sold, and so I still remember that.
Yeah, and so pretty much our first like sale was, I think, mid-June, if not towards the end. Mm-hmm. And I believe that month, I think we only sold like at most $60. That month of June, $60, $60.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess just to make long story short or anything, I know 2019 we started our current business, e-commerce in the automotive industry, selling automotive film.
Okay.
I know we sell kits. I know we're starting to get into other stuff, but automotive film and e-commerce. 2019.
Yeah.
First of June, $60 around there, and then we had July all the way to December, which was another 6 months. And I know during that 2019 we crossed the $100,000 in sales, in revenue.
Was that total, or was just that for one business?
That's just for one business, which is this e-commerce business.
Okay, because I remember the close. We still did some, but not a lot.
No, this is 100%. Just looking at the books for the company, it's 100,000 in revenue.
Okay.
20 in 6 months. Okay. 6 months. And I say that because even though we were able to do it in 6 months, it technically yes and no. It didn't do it in 6 months because I know we had all this experience, all this knowledge. We didn't have to learn the marketplaces. We didn't have to learn like the website, the marketing, how to make images. I had to learn that, but it was kind of like it was just that. You like on your end, you didn't have to know how like the keywords for the platforms. Like you already knew it.
Pretty much everything was
it was kind of like, all right, let's just see what we need to sell. How do we need to go about it? And majority of it was just us getting the products, listing them, and then us fulfilling them. And that was all the way until like December, and we hit 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I know it was just us two. That's the thing. It was just us two, and we were able to hit it 6 figures. So technically, it took us like 10 years to hit 6 figures in that one business.
Yeah. Yep.
6 years. I mean, 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess going back to like, just to make long story short, I know that first year, 2019, we hit 100,000 in revenue. Following 2020, I know we got a few people helping us with the orders. That's when we moved to our first big warehouse, which was 6,000 square feet. That was, I think during that time we moved twice. We moved to HP and then to
that same year.
That same year. And I know that year 2020 we hit 700,000 in revenue. So we jumped from 100,000 to 700,000. Come 2021, I know again we got more people. We started. Well, one of the things that happened was that the stimulus checks, people got unemployed, so that kind of like bumped it up. And I know we went from 2020 making 700,000 to 2021 we made, I think, 1.7, 1 point, I think so.
1.6.
1.6, 1.7.
Yeah.
Around there. So we went from first 100,000 to 700,000 to 1 point, let's just say 6. 2021. And I know for 2022 it was just like, I guess, distraction. It was time for distraction because we got a warehouse. We got even more we were still at the warehouse, but we got even more people. But we were trying to do everything. We were trying to just, all right, we're in the automotive industry, where might as well just do parts, might as well do car care products, might as well do carbon fiber.
Yep. I think our plan was to be an one-stop shop for just all automotive things. It didn't matter what it was, like physical parts. I think we were even looking into like getting equipment to create like plastic parts, like the big ones. And so like we were everywhere. Granted, at that time we were very still focused on the products. We were still focused on fulfillment. We were still focused on the day-to-day task. Even though we were making like revenue, the business was making like 1.6. Yeah, I think it was.
And then come 2022, we even tried to open up a wrap shop during 2022. And I know that year we dropped down to like 1.4.
Was it 1.4? Was it 1.2 or 1.4?
You know what? I think 2021 was 1.8 and then 2022 was 1.6.
Was it?
Yeah, because it dropped.
It did drop. I'm like, I don't know why 1.2 is in my head. Maybe I'm thinking $200,000 in sales lost.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the point is that I know we were very close to 2 million in 2021 and I know we dropped in 2022.
Okay.
That's the thing. And I know like towards the end of the 22 we're like we were really struggling, and I don't know if you could touch upon.
Yeah, in 2022, like we like I remember we had a conversation with you know, I don't know if you want to blur out the names, but with Luis and Disa, pretty much telling them like, you know what, the company is in like in the best standing. We're probably losing like $1,000 to $2,000 a month, which in reality was probably a little bit more because there was some months that we were losing $7,000 a month. And we told them like, pretty much it's time to kind of get back, you know, like that we needed to make it work because the company would last another, like, let's say, I think it was 18 months at that rate. But just that we needed to pretty much go back up, but without even knowing exactly what it is to do. And so pretty much we knew we needed to do something. And so I know that around August of 2022, I came across Alex Hormozy. I had come across Layla Hormozy in the past because I think she made a video of like from 0 to 30 million. And I started watching it, but I'm like, is this even true? Because it's kind of unfathomable to think from 0 to 30 million. And so, like, I guess I clicked out relatively quick out of that video. But then at some point in August, I came across Alex Hormozy, and he started talking, and everything that he said, it made sense. And that's one of the things that is extremely important that I got, is that being able to communicate what it is that you have in your head is extremely important. Because he was able to do that, articulate it, and it made sense. And that's one of the reasons why we chose to follow, not follow, but just learn and implement the things that they did for their business. And so it was in August, and I know we had a meeting with pretty much, you could say at that time, the leadership, or the people that were in charge of, like, let's say, the sales. And so we had a meeting with them. We went through the how to make a good offer. And so there was several things that we did. We laid out a list of what it is that we could do in order to grow the business. I know it was new products, email marketing, all these different things, like sell on Amazon Canada. So there was all these things. And so I know you were going to take care of some of the things. I was going to take care of some of the things. Luis was going to take care of some of the things. And so we really were trying to figure out what it was that was going to make the business get back to where it was again. And I know that and sometimes it's easier, like, it's duh, hindsight is 2020. Like, I'm like, duh, you dumbass. Just list more products, because if we notice that during our business, whenever it is that we introduce either new category, we're just adding more products to our catalog, that's when the business grew. It was surges, boom. Like, it's kind of like that. Like growing, and then like that. Growing whenever we added new products. And so I remember we weren't focusing on that. And so I'm like, I don't think this, like, is the new products. And so that's one of the things when we started. I think we started in January. We started getting new products for more vehicles. We started getting vehicles in our warehouse to get the measurements for them. And that's pretty much when we started. And we started seeing it in January. It was our lowest month, I think, for a very long time. So January, February, we started seeing some of the fruit of our labor. March, when tax season started, strong, we started seeing it. And then it was I think in April that is, we started seeing, and that's the month that I think we first hit our 200,000. And so it worked. And so that's something that we just kept on doing, and we're still doing to this day. And I know we're adding other stuff in terms of more channels to sell on. I know we started doing Google ads on our website, and that started taking off. I think it's our second best marketplace. Or not marketplace, but it's our second best sales channel. Be right behind Amazon. And so we just really had to focus on our business and our business model and what it was that was working. And so that's all we did. And you see the result of that in April, March, April, May. We started hitting close to $300,000 a month.
2023?
2024. Like, because of all 2023, what it was that we were doing. And so
and then for that year, 2023, I know for 2022 we did I think 1.6. Okay. And then I know for 2022, even though the stimulus check stopped running, like the e-commerce, that boom, that for like 2 years, it stopped. It dried up for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that was the first year that I think e-commerce sales as a whole went down. It was very small, but that was the first time that it's ever happened.
Regardless of that, I know we still went up to 2.2 for 2022. 2.2 million.
2.2. That was crazy.
Yeah. And I know we kept doing that. And then I know at the start of 2024, we kept doing that all the way until now. I think right now it's July. And we're at a run rate of 3 million. I know we have a goal to push for 4 million for this year, which we are doing a lot of things. But I guess, and then it's going back to the topic that even though we were still, I think we still passed, like we were very close to the 2 million. We were very focused on the day-to-day task. We were focused on the product. We were focused on the marketing, on the sales, on fulfillment, which is pretty much shipping out orders. I know we were still focused on that, and that was our focus, and that's what grew us to 1.8 or 1 point whatever. Now there's kind of a switch, and I think those switches, as you start progressing in business, I know we kind of like very summarized like the journey, because within those years there were different seasons, in the sense that maybe some seasons we were very focused on just fulfilling orders, shipping out orders. Other ones we were very focused on listing and getting more products out, doing measurements, taking images, all that. We were very focused on that. And now after that we were focused on certain like different things within the business. Now we're focusing on different things, and pretty much, I don't know if you could touch upon that.
Yeah, and so pretty much as the business grows, almost out of necessity, you have to start focusing on different things. The thing is that if you don't, the business will stay at the same level.
Yep.
It won't get past that. And so like currently I know that we're really focusing on certain people to take over the responsibilities of the day-to-day tasks, pretty much putting the leaders in place for their particular, like you could call it department.
Yep.
And so I know that's one of the things that we're going to start focusing on. I know that, and then with that, we're going to be focusing on to grow the business.
Yep.
You could call it the bigger picture stuff.
Yep.
And one of them is, just in general, like sales and marketing. But another one is accountability.
Yep.
Because I know, like, currently I think the entirety of the company performs good, but they're not performing, I think, at their best.
No.
And so with that, we're setting up more We're pretty much going to become a culture, because I think it's an extremely good culture that we have. It's very friendly. Everyone can get along with each other. And it's very, like, people got really close with each other. I know people hang out outside of work. And so it's people actually, I feel, want to come and work here.
Yep.
At the same time, accountability is something that we're going to set in place, and a culture of accountability where everyone has numbers. Like if you've noticed that everyone really, aside from like, let's say our leaders, have straight up metrics and numbers that they are being tracked on. And I know that's something that we're working on our leaders for them to have like some type of metrics or numbers. But I know that one of them is just by having their team hit those numbers.
Yep.
And so now we're setting that that pretty much culture. And we talked with our leadership about it, and I think they took it well. I think like, and I know like for everyone, let's say in the warehouse, it might not be for everyone, and that's kind of to be expected. But from what I look at everyone, and I think everyone is good. It's just that it was on our end for not just setting that culture of accountability.
Yeah, because for a long time, it was just us two pushing. It was just us two. And it's because our lack of experience of like guiding and helping people come up with goals, because they were just like, at one point, they were just working to work. I know they had some goals, but it was like, all right, it'll be cool if I hit them. Mm-hmm. But there was no real way of tracking them, of guiding them, of giving them feedback if they were doing a good job, if they were maybe there was room for improvement. And if they were doing a good job, what's the next step to advance? So we didn't have that in place. So it switched our roles in the company. It switched in a way of, it was just me and you pushing for sales, pushing for growth. So now it's like we're still pushing, but now it's gonna like we're gonna be pushing through the leadership.
Yeah, and I know, and then with that, it was very frustrating at times, because then at least sometimes I thought, I'm like, fuck, why am I, like, I feel like why are we the only ones like that are like just the way we are? Like, I remember there was a time where we just were working 7 days a week. Yeah. And so it was frustrating, but it really was on our end for not setting that accountability in place. And so now that it's set up, it's just, pretty much we're all going to be pushing. Yep. And for the ones that are not pushing, then maybe this isn't the right place. And obviously it's not like a rigid or disciplinary or like, go type of environment, but it's more just tracking the numbers, because we've seen the difference when you know that you're doing good versus when you don't know. Yep. We've seen, for example, just by simple tracking, some people's performance just overnight doubled.
Yep.
We saw that. And so that's something that we're going to start setting in place. I know every person is going to have key performance indicators or just like metrics, let's take numbers. And that I know we're going to start pretty much showing them every week. And we don't even necessarily need to tell them anything. It's just, these are your numbers. And maybe these are the numbers of everyone, like comparatively to others. Like, I know that's one of the reasons why we had the morning meeting. Because then, like, let's just call it in our design team, there's one that is excelling by a lot. And so just by purely showing, that motivates that individual, but at the same time, it's going to motivate the others. And obviously, if through time they're not meeting them, then that's the conversation that we need to have with them. But just by tracking and having accountability, I know that's one of the ways that we're going to hit from 3 to 10 million. Pretty much just doing what we're doing and what's working, having accountability. And then because our free time is going to freed up, we're going to be able to work on the things that are going to grow the business.
And I know that this needed to happen because at the same time we're growing. Before, like 2021, 2022, even like the beginning of 2023, at most we were like 7-8 people in total. In total for the whole company. We doubled that. Right now, I think we're at 15. Around there. 15,
total.
Around 15 total. So it kind of
doubled. But including that remote individual, or I don't know if you're there, but sorry, I don't know. So our editor, I know, including him, we're 16. But I know there's a few people that are part-time, like 2 people that are part-time. So I don't know if we want to combine them to make a full-time person. But people in total, 16. So we're that. And one of the things I know that you mentioned is that touch up on we could only do 6 to 7 people. And so the 6 to 7 people, I think we heard it in traction, and it does make sense because when you actually look at your day-to-day, like you really can't have a conversation or a genuine, like just accountability with more than like, and 6 to 7 is stretching it. And which pretty much that's, if you just have accountability with each individual, it's not going to allow the business, it's just not going to allow you to focus on what it is that you need to in order to grow the business. And so the 6 to 7 people, that's why like we set up leadership in place, because we have like let's just say 16 people in total. We have 2 departments in the business and then in the media. And so I know that we're pretty much setting each individual or each department with a leader. And then the leader, we're going to be the ones that are going to be, they're going to be reporting to us. And so, and I know currently, like, if you average it out, each person is managing, let's say, 4 to 5 people. And so it's kind of like perfect because then at least they're able to like comfortably, you could say lead it, but at the same time, do what it is that they need to do on their end.
And so at this stage of our of the business, it's less about focusing, and I guess that's just going to be recapping, but it's less focusing on what do I need to list, or how am I going to go about listing? Like, what images do I need to do today? What videos do I need to edit today? It's less of that and more of like, let me see how I can help people reach their goals. Let me see how I can help them improve. Maybe it's with one-on-ones. Maybe it's with evaluations. Maybe it's with training. Because for the media, on the media side, we're doing a lot of training in the sense that there's a lot of psychology when it comes to videos. So it's just a lot of training, and I'm having a lot of one-on-ones with the creative director, which is the one in charge of everyone else under him, which is the social media as a whole.
Which I just wanted to add, like, from what I've seen, he's extremely good, and it's a difference when you have someone like that versus when you don't. And so, like, I don't know if we got lucky, but
in a way I think we got lucky is because I know during that first interview we were just looking for an editor, but out of him, like, that's one person, at least for me, and I think I brought it up to you that I wanted to invest in him. Like, I know we had like over 200 videos of installation videos that we needed to get through. I'm like, if he's able to get through it, he has the skill, he has the experience, because this guy, he's worked at companies like Sony for films. I know he's worked at like actual studio, like, I guess that's beyond the point. But he had the skill, and I decided to invest on him, even though he was just for editing for like a year. But now it's like we switched what we were gonna do to media, and it paid off. It's just like decided to invest in him. But
I know it took you off a track of something. But I just wanted to emphasize the importance of
and it's very important because you're good. Oh, not you, but we noticed the difference. Of just like someone that really wants it, someone who has the experience, who has the drive internally, versus someone that we always have to just hold their hand all the way up. So it's a big difference.
Yeah. And then I know that for some people, we're doing a lot of training also with the leadership. And one of the things that it really does depend on the leadership and the ownership of like what type of business you want to have. Because literally, like we know exactly what to do it to just grow the business fast and good. But the thing is that I feel like we care for people.
Yep.
And so that's why like we could easily have the like let's just say some of the leadership replaced and have put someone in place that has that experience and knows what to do. But I think that's one that we're gonna. It's a cold and harsh way of going about things.
Yep.
I know that that's probably the best for the business and just for overall like just the growth and the betterment of the business, just solely speaking, like just based on numbers and coldness. But I think that's one business model or type that we're not gonna fully like go into, because I know like we have a care for the people that are here, and if that's at a detriment or a sacrifice of the growth of the company, then I think we're willing to take that, because I think we generally care for the people here.
Yeah, because even with that, I know like a lot of these people have been here like more than 2-3 years, 4 years, 5 years, since the entirety of the company.
2019, that's 5 years.
Yeah, and it's like reciprocating that. I know they've been like loyal to the company, so it's like it just makes sense for us to help them grow within the company, instead of like how you mentioned, just getting someone who has the authority, has the experience, but it's just like do this, and this, and if you can't do it, then you're out.
Yeah, and then be loyal to them, help them grow, and at the same time, if we see that, obviously to a limit and an extent, because if we see that that person is not gonna be a right fit, no matter how much training, then obviously we won't do that, because then it's gonna be a disservice to them, because they're not gonna be doing good in their position, and they're gonna be feeling that fuck, I'm not doing good, I'm fucking up. So it's a disservice to them and a disservice to the rest of their team, because then they're going to be like, well, why is this kid in play? Like, he's not the right person to the business, which ultimately does affect them, because if he's put in the wrong place, he's just overall going to affect, he or she is going to affect everything. And so obviously to a point and an extent, but to the best of our ability, help them go into the right seat, you could call it.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So 2024, we're at a run rate of 3 million in revenue.
Yeah.
We are pushing for 4, because that was our initial 4 million. That was our initial goal for 2024, which I think if we really push, we can hit that 4 million. So let's just assume at the bare minimum 3 million revenue for 2024. How are we planning to get to the 10 million? Because we know exactly what to do. I know we're also doing something where it's not the day-to-day, but it's working closely with the people. So it's building the people, but on the business side, we know exactly what to do too. So pretty much, I guess in short, what do we need to do to hit that 10 million, and pretty much by time frame?
By time frame?
Like time frame. Is it going to be 2025, which is next year, 2026? Because from 3 million to 10 million, that's triple.
Yeah. And then there's so many things that can happen, because let's say social media just explodes. It's going to explode.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell on the time frame, but let's just say like on the production and design and just solely, it's not a specific time frame per se, but I know we could easily double every year, meaning that 3, 6, 9. So in that sense, probably around 2026, we'll head to the 10 million, and that's really just by focusing on the people and getting those people to get the best out of everyone. And obviously with that entails the performance, the attitude of each, and the overall culture, and at the same time improving the product. That's okay. There's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's really just by focusing on the people. That's
people on the big picture, huh?
People and the big picture. I know like on one end that we have to focus on is pretty much the marketing and the sales.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Because I know we haven't focused on that a lot.
Not really.
And so it's just people and the growth through marketing and sales, because that's something we really haven't focused on. It's luckily we've been not blessed, but we've just happened to be on the right industry and are on the right niche and been doing the right things.
Yep. And
so, but now knowing that if we focus on sales and marketing, that's gonna increase the company. At the same time, by working on people, that's gonna help too.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah,
cool. Yeah.
In simple terms, because I know there's like we could go into detail about everything that it is we're gonna do, But that's gonna be a bit.
We could talk about it like for a full 8 hours, and that's the thing, that there are a lot of things that we need to do on the business end. Because yes, sales. Because for the marketing, for Google Ads, I know like you really don't spend a lot of time when it comes to it.
Every 3 weeks, maybe half an hour.
Half an hour, and it's bringing in on the website. It's bringing in quite a bit of sales a month.
Yeah.
It's our second best marketplace.
Yeah.
Or marketplace or
sales channel.
Sales channel.
Yeah.
Better said.
Yeah.
It's our second best, and you're only spending an hour every 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Imagine like you spend 10 hours, 20 hours a week.
And that's just Google Ads.
That's just Google Ads.
Search.
I know we're also coming up with, other products. I guess if we want to talk about how we're planning to get there on the business side, on the product side, yes, we're going to be working with people that's very like soft skill type stuff. On the hard skills, like, or on the things that we know, like we need to do for the business, the marketing, spending more time, sales, also building a brand, which is some of the things that I'm working on. More products, reaching out to actual manufacturers for the car companies, because we're in the automotive industry. So I don't know if you want to say it.
Okay. Yeah, licensing, like for example, Ford, GM, all these big brands.
Working with them. I know it's just maybe even going to trade shows, like just SEMA. Yeah. Like there's a lot of things that we can do.
Yeah.
It's just that, again, we don't want to overstretch. We're just going to tackle one thing at a time. Yeah. Because this is just with films. I know in the automotive films, there's other things. We could do stickers. We could do printable. We could do prints. There's a lot of stuff, and then we're not even getting into like just like the parts, but I don't even think we're gonna touch that.
Right. And so it really is one of the things that we learned is just focusing on what it is that is working and pretty much what you're good at and what is bringing in the money. And so I know we're gonna continue doing that. I know through time it is probably gonna be evolving. Yep. And so, but one of the things is I know we're gonna focus and we're just gonna continue doing the same thing. And so I know we could talk even more, like not even more, but like just into that, like how you said 8 hours. But but in the comments down below, let us know if you want a video like that details exactly what it is that we're gonna be doing in order to go from the 3 million to the 10 million. Like we could go into that depth. But do you have anything else to that? No. Well, that was a good way to end it. But with that being said, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.